morning, student. Student, now after completing human reproduction third chapter of biology, we are starting with the next part of human reproduction. You can say that is reproductive health, and that is the fourth chapter, class 12th biology, fourth chapter reproductive health. So in under this chapter, the first topic is what, student? Reproductive health program. And in this reproductive health program, we are going to study two things: family planning program as well as reproductive and child health care program, RCH, reproductive and child health care program. RCH stands for reproductive and child health care program. As per your syllabus, children, two objectives of these two can be asked. Any one of these two can be asked. Any two roles or aims. Any two objectives or aims of these two programs can be asked. What is the one program, student? Reproductive and child health care program and family planning program, isn't it? So I am going to give you few objectives and you can write any two, because in examination, in board exam, any two can be asked, isn't it? So the family planning program's first objective, student, distribution of IUDs. Student, in your basic class you have studied IUDs. IUDs stand for intrauterine devices, and the most popular is copper teeth and Lippes loop. Okay. Then the second objective is distribution of contraceptive pills. Contraception is, student, the process which prevent the fertilization and pregnancy. So distribution of contraceptive pill में the first one is pill, very famous pill, Mala N, then Mala D and Mala L. Detail of this we will study later on in another question. Then the last one is restricted marriage age. Restricted marriage age in India is 18 years for girls and 21 years for boys, isn't it? Now, one work to benefit these three objectives under the family planning program can be asked in another question, that is, write any two or give any two roles of Indian government to control population. Role of Indian government, and answer will be same. These three factors which I told you: distribution of IUDs, distribution of contraceptive pills, and restricted marriage age. Now let us go here on the next program, that is RCH, stand for reproductive and child health care program. So here the first objective, student, the first very interesting objective, that is awareness about. Its first objective is awareness about, it provides awareness about three things. What are those three things, student? About, the first one is about child health. So RCH, first objective, it provides awareness about child health. Then breastfeeding by mother to the infant, and the third one in the awareness about is the vaccination, isn't it? And now the next objective under RCH is it providing the facilities, providing facilities. About what, student? Providing facilities and support for what, student? For building. For what, student? For building reproductively healthy society. Reproductively healthy society, isn't it? So these are the what kind of the facilities and support related to the all these things related to the medical facilities and funding and all. So these are the two factors, isn't it? Children, now we are on the same chapter but next topic, that is method of birth control. Methods of birth control. There are two methods. One is natural and another one is artificial or man-made methods for birth control. So let us see the first one, that is natural method. First we will study natural method, and under that we have three main topics, that is rhythm method, or also called calendar method of birth control, then lactational amenorrhea. Last year it was asked for 2 marks in board, lactational amenorrhea, and withdrawal method. So one by one let us study all. Student, rhythm method, couples are aware of the day of the ovulation after menstrual cycle. Ovulation occurs, generally ovulation occurs near about after 14 days of menstruation. And so couples are aware of this thing, that there is chances of pregnancy on 12th, 13th and 14th day. Chances of pregnancy on 12th, 13th or 14th day after menstruation stops, because they are aware, couples are aware of that ovulation occurs after 14 days of stoppage of menstruation, isn't it? So this is also called calendar method. They have to depend on the calendar, and that is called rhythm method, isn't it? Next one is lactational amenorrhea. Very important. It was asked for in short note. Lactational amenorrhea. So the another name is postpartum infertility. Just after parturition, student, just after parturition, two things happens. There is complete absence of menstruation for 6 months, and during this period there is intense lactation. Intense lactation means the mammary gland is filled with the after milk, that is after birth milk, and so there is completely the infant depends on the feeding, and so these two things prevents the contraception. I will write and explain you. Lactational amenorrhea में what happens? After postpartum means after parturition. After parturition, two things happens. Absence of menstrual cycle. Absence of menstruation, you can say. Menstruation and intense lactation. Intense lactation. Student, you know what is lactation? Ejection of the milk. Intense lactation and rapid breastfeeding. Breastfeeding. So naturally, it's very obvious, if these two things will be there, so there will be fully fully prevention of contraception. These two things, if these two things happens, absence of the menstruation, so there will be no ovulation, and if there will be intense lactation and breastfeeding, so naturally these two things will fully prevent contraception. Fully prevent contraception, isn't it? But this is temporary process for 6 months. It is called temporary infertility also, isn't it? And the last is withdrawal method, very simple. That is also called coitus interruptus. Interruptus means here it involves withdrawal of the male genital organ before ejaculation. Withdrawal of male organ or male genital organ before ejaculation. Before ejaculation, isn't it? So these are the three natural methods commonly. The first one is rhythm method, second lactational amenorrhea, and third one is the withdrawal method, isn't it? Now after this we will study artificial method. Student, now after natural method, we are going to study artificial or man-made method, isn't it? So the first one is barrier method, then oral contraceptive pills and implants. In barrier means, student, there is a hinder or obstacle, hurdle between fertilization. So the first, in barrier method, first we study IUDs. Earlier I told you what is the full form. That is intrauterine devices. Two examples, copper T and lipase loop. These are most commonly used intrauterine devices. Student, these two devices, they do not prevent fertilization, but this prevents implantation of the zygote to the endometrium. So IUDs is the barrier method. Then second one, student, diaphragm. Diaphragm is a shield-shaped structure which get fixed at the cervix or birth canal. Rubber sheet. It is a rubber sheet like this that get fixed at the birth canal or cervix. Isn't it? Dome shaped. Then condoms are there. These are the barrier methods. Now let us come on oral contraceptive pills. In the first question I told you the example of oral contraceptive pills like Mala N, Mala L and Mala D. So what they do, student? These three hormonal pills, what they do? First is they inhibit ovulation. Inhibit or prohibits ovulation. No ovulation, student. No release of ovum, no fertilization, no pregnancy. Then second one is, these hormonal pills have power to alter or change the natural structure of endometrium. Structure of inner lining of uterine wall or endometrium. Isn't it? And if there is alteration of the endometrial structure, so but naturally it will provide unfavorable condition for implantation, making it unfavorable for implantation. Isn't it? So these hormonal pills, they inhibit ovulation, first factor. Second, it has power to alter the natural structure of endometrium, making it unfavorable for implantation. Implantation is, student, that is the attachment of the zygote or blastocyst to the endometrium after fertilization. And then it has one more power, student. It inhibits the mobility and secretion in the lining of fallopian tube. It inhibits mobility and secretion in the lining of fallopian tube or oviduct. Another name of fallopian tube is oviduct. The mobility of the muscles in the fallopian tube will be stopped and the secretion is also stopped. Implant. Now implant, what is implant, student? That I will explain you now after leaving this. These 3 points are clear to you. Now I will explain you implants. I will explain you 2 things, student. Implants as well as surgical method. That you have studied in your basic class, 10th class. Student, implants are, it is a matchstick size hormonal rod that is implanted under the skin in the upper arm of the female. In the upper arm of the female, and that continuously secretes female hormones, estrogen as well as progesterone for 3 years continuously. And that process also inhibits or prevents what we call implantation. Isn't it? So implants are what, student? Implants are matchstick shaped hormonal rods. Where they are implanted, student? Implanted beneath the skin. Implants are the matchstick shaped hormonal rods implanted beneath the skin of upper arm. And what is the main significant feature of that? This hormonal rod, it secretes female hormones. You know the name very well. Estrogen and progesterone continuously for 3 years in the bloods of female. And this thing also, student, prevents implantation. It alters the system of the menstrual cycle, and so it prevents no implantation, no birth, and so birth is controlled. And last artificial method, it is very hazardous, but that is surgical method. In surgical method, student, both male and female beings are involved. You have studied in your basic class surgical method. One is vasectomy and tubectomy. So I am giving you one hint to learn. C and T in vasectomy and C and T in tubectomy stands for: C for cutting and T for tying. Cutting and tying of vas deferens. This is testis and this is vas deferens. It involves cutting and tying of vas deferens. And tubectomy, it involves tubectomy, student. This is fallopian tube. C stands for cutting and T for tying of tube means fallopian tube. Cutting and tying of fallopian tube. And so this will prevent the fertilization. And here also, cutting and tying of vas deferens or sperm duct. will prevent the movement of gametes, and so no fertilization and no pregnancy and no birth. Isn't it? So all these are artificial method. First one we have studied artificial method, barrier method. Then we have studied implants, surgical method, and hormonal pills, contraceptive hormonal pills. After this, student, we are going to study ART, assisted reproductive technologies. Children, now we are on very interesting topic of this chapter, that is reproductive health, and that is called ART. Before this, you have already studied reason for method of the birth control, artificial as well as natural. But this technique assists in the birth. That is why it is called assisted reproductive technologies. How does the technology assist or helps in reproduction or in the birth or pregnancy? There are 5. First I will explain you 3. That is IUT. IUT means student. First one is IUT, intrauterine transfer. Then second one is IVF, in vitro fertilization. In vitro fertilization. The first one is what, student? Intrauterine transfer, IUT. Second one is in vitro fertilization. And third one is GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer, GIFT. And then ZIFT, ZIFT. Only one word is changed, that is zygote intrafallopian transfer. There is minor difference, and that I will explain you here one by one. Very, very interesting. Assisted reproductive technologies. First one is intrauterine transfer. So student, I am giving you 2 formulas how to learn all these techniques. In 2 steps we will study. First one is the reason why we do this, why we take the support of this technology. Second, the technique, what we do in the treatment, isn't it? So the first one is IUT, that is intrauterine transfer. Reason is, student, failure of implantation. Sometime ovulation is there, fertilization is there, blastocyst formation is there, but this blastocyst, that is 8-celled blastomere, fails to implant. So what we do? We remove this, it fails to implant. You see, this is blastocyst, it fails to implant, so we remove this and transfer in the another uterus of another female. So intrauterine transfer, intra means between 2. Isn't it? Is it clear to you? Reason is failure of implantation. So like this is the first female, in this the 8-cell blastomere. What happens? It fails to implant. So we remove it and we transfer, intrauterine transfer this blastocyst for implantation in the other uterus of other female. Is it clear to you? Second one is IVF. Full form is in vitro fertilization. Student, there are 2 opposite words. In vivo means in natural in the body, and in vitro means in the lab. Isn't it? So here what are the 2 reasons? First reason, failure in the ovulation. Second is low sperm count. Isn't it? Ovulation means release of ovum. Ovum is formed, but Graafian follicle fails to ovulate. So what we do? There is one reason, and this is not in both the couples. Anyone will be there. Either in female failure in ovulation or in male low sperm count. So what we do? We take a donor and that donor will donate ovum if the fault is in the female, and then we take sperm from the same male or donor from the testes and we fertilize it in the lab. In lab means in vitro. You have heard about test tube baby. And then after the formation of zygote, we implant it in uterus of the same mother or another mother will be called as surrogate mother. That is called surrogacy. Is it clear to you, student? What are the two reasons for IVF? IVF stands for in vitro fertilization. And student, the first reason is failure in ovulation. Second, low sperm count. So we take the gametes from the donors and then we fertilize outside the body. In vitro means outside the body in the lab. In this test tube, have you heard about test tube baby? And then we implant it in the endometrium or the uterus of same mother or another mother, that is called surrogate mother. Then next one is gift or gamete intrafallopian transfer. Student, in beginning the diagram is same and the reason is what? Here the reason is poor mobility of the gamete, because gamete intrafallopian transfer means gamete cannot move up till the fallopian tube, because site of fertilization, F for fertilization, F for fallopian tube. So site for fertilization is fallopian tube. So first reason is poor mobility of the gametes, isn't it? And second reason is blockage of oviduct. Although ovulation occurs, but there is blockage of oviduct. So what we do then? We take sperm from the healthy donor, isn't it? And ovum from the female, and we transfer this gamete in the fallopian tube, isn't it? In gamete, these are the gametes, sperm and ovum. And what is the full form of GIFT? Gamete intrafallopian transfer. And then we transfer one by one the sperm and the ovum gamete in the fallopian tube, isn't it? The reason is poor mobility of the gamete or blockage of the oviduct. So if the oviduct is blocked, then we need another uterus of another female, isn't it? And in GIFT, Z stands for zygote. Please see carefully, student. Only there is one difference. Here in zygote intrafallopian transfer, we take zygote from the fallopian tube and we transfer it in the fallopian tube of another female. This is the difference. Zygote intrafallopian transfer. We take this zygote from here. We can do it in vitro, and then we transfer it in the fallopian tube of another female, isn't it? Student, another two ARTs, that is assisted reproductive technologies, are ICSI and AI. ICSI stands for intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Meaning is in the word only, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, and the reason is failure in fertilization. Sometimes if there is failure in fertilization, student, it is also a part of IVF, in vitro fertilization. So here what is the reason? Failure in the fertilization. So what we do here, we take a microscopic needle and we inject in the cytoplasm of microscopic needle and we inject a sperm in the cytoplasm of ovum. This is ovum, and this is what, student? Sperm, and this is microscopic needle, and that is called intracytoplasmic sperm injection, and we inject in the cytoplasm of ovum. So how we define it? In this, single sperm is injected in the cytoplasm of ovum by microscopic needle, isn't it? Now the last is AI, that is artificial insemination. Here what we do, student? And the reason is infertility in male. Sometime in male there is low sperm count. So what we do in artificial insemination? We take this is uterus. Insemination means, you know, student, discharge of the semen in the uterus. So what we do? We take sperm from the healthy donor. We take sperm from the healthy donor. Sperm, this is sperm of the healthy donor, and we inject, this is syringe, and we inject this in the uterus of healthy female, isn't it? So this is called artificial insemination, and the reason is infertility in the male or low sperm count. So student, these are the two, ICSI and artificial insemination. In this way we complete the major part of this chapter, but two more are remaining, that is amniocentesis, and there are some sexually transmitted diseases that we will study after this. Children, now we have to study amniocentesis. So in this we have to study three factors: meaning of amniocentesis, its use, that is application, and misuse, isn't it? So what is the meaning of amniocentesis? Have you heard about amniotic fluid, student? So amniocentesis means analysis or testing fetal abnormalities. Amniocentesis means, student, analysis or testing of fetal abnormalities by withdrawing amniotic fluid by hypodermic needle. Student, this is the growing fetus protected in amniotic fluid. And student, what is the use of this theory? To identify some genital disorders of the growing embryo. If the growing embryo is having some genital disorders like syndromes, trisomies, monosomies, so we identify it by withdrawing amniotic fluid. This is the amniotic fluid through hypodermal needle. Like this is hypodermal needle, we withdraw amniotic fluid and we check the chromosomal disorders. Okay, this is the sex chromosome and these are the autosomes. This is the sex chromosome, isn't it? And this is autosome. So we withdraw the amniotic fluid and cells are there around it. So we what is the main aim? To identify genital disorder. Yeah, you can say genetic disorder, such as syndromes. Some syndromes are there in the growing fetus. Then trisomies, inborn errors, trisomies, monosomies. isn't it? And so if these things are there in the growing fetus, genetic counselor advise for medical termination of pregnancy to the defective child, isn't it? If the defective child is born with this defect, it is not good. But what is the misuse today, student? I will explain you misuse on this side. Misuse today they do because when they test, they come to know about the sex. So what they do, they avoid medical termination of female fetus. Female fetus. It is a very mega sin of this universe. Female infanticides are used. There is no repentance, no compensation for this mega sin. So in 1971, there was one act passed. 1971 act was passed against this process. Very severe punishment is given. Severe punishment is there in this amendment for medical termination of pregnancy of normal female fetus, isn't it? So in amniocentesis we have to study meaning, use and misuse. So how we define amniocentesis? Analysis or testing of what? Genetic abnormalities of the growing fetus by withdrawing amniotic fluid, isn't it? By hypodermal needle, and this is the use to know all this disorder, and this is the misuse. When they come to know about female fetus, they use female infanticide, and so the act was passed in 1971, and according to that amendment there is severe punishment. So children, now we are on the concluding part of the chapter, that is reproductive health. Very interesting topic, that is STD, sexually transmitted diseases, related to your direct medical course. Questions are asked in your NEET exam also. STD means sexually transmitted diseases. Student, it is also called venereal disease. It is also called venereal disease. How we define it? We define it as a mega group of diseases that is transmitted from one person to another through sexual contact. How we define? Mega group of diseases or disease which is transmitted from person to person through sexual contact. And what is the other name, student? Other name is venereal diseases, isn't it? Another name is venereal disease. Today I am giving you an idea how to learn this chapter. When you go through your text, there are many symptoms and preventive measures and treatments of these diseases. But I am giving you an idea how to learn it. Only in examination 2 symptoms or 2 mode of prevention and treatment is asked. So you are not supposed to learn 8, 9 symptoms and prevention. You try to learn only 2 to 3 symptoms and prevention or treatment. In the first column I am giving you the hint how to learn. In the first column you write in your assignment text, you write STD in the first column. That is the name of the diseases, sexually transmitted diseases. Like the first one is gonorrhea. Then causative agent. Then any 2 symptoms are asked, you can learn 3. And in your test there are many, 8, 9, and then preventions. So the first one is say gonorrhea, and the causative agent is Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Just after the spelling of gonorrhea you put E here, that will become gonorrhoeae. Remember the technique of writing the scientific name, capital, genus and small letter species. So gonorrhea, Neisseria gonorrhoeae, and 3 symptoms I have written and 2 are asked, but you learn these 3. Burning sensation in urethra, during urination, discharge of pus and infertility, isn't it? I am giving you three, you will have to write any two, so don't take risk, learn three. And then prevention, three preventions, again I have written, only two are asked. Avoid promiscuity, application of sheaths, and in last third treatment of prevention you can write antibiotic if it is used. Here in gonorrhea ampicillin tablet is applicable, isn't it? And the meaning of promiscuity is, student, meaning of promiscuity is sexual relationship with many persons. So avoid promiscuity. Then the second STD is sexually transmitted disease or venereal disease is syphilis. And again the same thing, causative agent Treponema pallidum. Then three symptoms, painless ulcer or glands of penis. On the glands of penis means on the head of the penis, or you can say, because this is common in female also, so painless ulcer on glands of penis, or you can say urethra in the female, rectum, painless ulcer, then skin rashes over the body and inside the mouth, accompanied with fever or flu. Accompanied with fever or flu. Remember student, one more idea I am giving you. Mostly in all the STDs, venereal diseases, the first two preventions or treatment are same, that is avoid promiscuity. Avoid promiscuity, do I have written, then application of sheaths. Isn't it? So in this way we learn the, now if spread is asked, mode of transmission, spread is also same. If spread is asked, spread is also same, that is, it is spreaded through sexual contact. This is the main mode of spread. After this we are going to study 3, 4 or 4, 5 more. Remember, you have to learn from your text in the same way. You in your assignment, when you will write from your assignment in the fair copy, you have to make a column like this. First column is for STD, name of the diseases, venereal diseases. Then the second column, causative agent. Then from your the text matter, which will be given to you, you select any 2 to 3 those symptoms which is easy for you to learn. There are 8 to 10 symptoms and mode of prevention and treatment, but you can select any 2 to 3 which is easy for you to learn, but try to add in the third point, you try to add the medicines or antibiotic if it is given, if it is subscribed. Right? So now we are studying some other STDs, that is sexually transmitted diseases, that is chlamydiasis, genital herpes. Again the same procedure, causative agent, any two symptoms and preventive measures. So let us study this. Chlamydiasis. Student, again I want to tell you one thing, that as we are studying the chapter reproductive health, so it is very necessary to study preventive measures and symptoms of some sexually transmitted diseases, because the aim of reproductive health is to develop, to construct reproductively healthy society. So it is necessary to know some symptoms and preventive measures of sexually transmitted diseases or venereal diseases. Now the next one is chlamydiasis, and the causative agent, student, chlamydia, trachomatis, and two symptoms, burning sensation in the urethra in male and female both during urination. During urination, discharge of pus, testicular swelling in the male. So from your text you can select any 3 symptoms. There are many as I told you. Prevention, the first two are always common, that is avoid promiscuity. Promiscuity, I told you student, relationship with both many persons. Then application of sheath, these two are mostly common. Then these two can be easily learned, but you try to emphasize on the antibiotic in the third point if it is present. Like here the antibiotic is are tetracycline. Antibiotic for chlamydiasis is tetracycline and doxycycline. Isn't it? Then genital herpes. And the causative agent is herpes simplex virus. Herpes simplex virus HSV1 and HSV2. Isn't it? This is viral. That is your genital herpes occurring on the genital organ. And what are the symptoms, student? Appearance of sores as blisters around the genital organ. Around the genital organ. Then swollen lymph nodes accompanied with fever or flu. Isn't it? Appearance of sores in the form of the blister around the genital organ. Then swollen lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are the lymphatic tissues present in the armpits, groin, tonsils also. Then swollen lymph node accompanied with fever or flu. Prevention, student, the first two are same as usual. Avoid promiscuity, application of sheath or condom, and here the antibiotic is but naturally because it is viral. So the antibiotic is antiviral drug. There are two very popular antiviral drugs, very popular. One is your acyclovir tablet, and second one is ointment. And the name of the ointment is Immu ointment, IMMU. Isn't it? So student, in this way we are going to study few more STDs. That is, after this genital ward, hepatitis B. Amazing fact that hepatitis B is also considered as sexually transmitted diseases from infected parent to the son, children. Then AIDS. Student, you can study these three in the same procedure: causative agent, symptoms and prevention. Any two or three from your text. Isn't it? So in this way we can complete the sexually transmitted diseases. In the next I will give you student, in the next topic I will give you very brief symptoms and preventive measures of hepatitis B, and the remaining one or two sexually transmitted diseases you can do in the same way from your text using the table of causative agent, any two symptoms and preventive measures. Now student, next STD is genital warts. It's like genital herpes only, but there is slight difference. Warts means, student, wart means bump. Soft bumps appear which looks like the surface of cauliflower. And what is the causative agent of genital warts? Causative agent of genital wart is HPV, human papilloma virus. Like for hepatitis B, HBV is there, hepatitis B virus. Similarly here, causative agent is HPV, human papilloma virus. And symptom, wart, genital wart. Wart means soft bump over the skin around the genital organ, which appears like the surface of cauliflower. Like this, student, like this bump, soft bump like cauliflower surface. Then prevention or treatment, the first two are same: avoid promiscuity and application of sheaths or condom. Tablet, acetaminophen, brufen, and interferon injection, and HPV vaccine. Hepatitis B vaccine. Sorry, not. I am sorry. H means human papilloma virus. HPV vaccine. That is HBV for hepatitis B. Isn't it? So hepatitis B. Next one is hepatitis B. In this liver is infected student, and the causative agent is, as I told you, HBV hepatitis B virus or DAN particles. They are also called, some smaller viruses are there, they are viroids. They are called DAN particles. Viroid means student, they are devoid of protein. Only nucleic acid is there. Then loss, what is the symptom? Loss of appetite means hunger. This is the very prominent symptom of hepatitis B. Loss of hunger or appetite. With nausea. Nausea means vomiting sensation. Oral bleeding due to the damage of blood vessels in the alimentary canal. Then yellowish urine, light colored stool, and ultimately in very chronic condition, liver cirrhosis. Student, liver cirrhosis, in this the cells of the liver become completely damaged, isn't it? Then the what we call preventive measures, preventions are prolonged bed rest, high calorie diet, high calorific diet with low fat and protein, and in prevention, a preventive measure one more is there, that is hepatitis B vaccine, HB vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, isn't it? And the last but not the least, that is AIDS. So you can easily study that from your test. AIDS causative agent is HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, and then symptoms: loss of weight, hunger, fever, headache, vomiting, and mode of, you can, in that you have to study mode of transmission also. It is transmitted through infected needles from the breastfeeding from mother to infant, using the infected needles and all, as I told you. And mode of prevention just opposite: avoid promiscuity, use of application of condom and seeds, do not use infected needles, and so on. So that you can do from your text. HIV you can do from your text. You have done it in your basic classes also, isn't it? So in this way, student, we complete this chapter, that is reproductive health. Thank you very much.